about today? Today we are talking about the 5 ways to unlock focus, simplicity to experience your full potential. Now, this is with ease and fun and fulfillment, which is why we are here to do life, whether it's personal life, business life, any of the things that you desire, you want to fulfill or experience. It's like, how do we unlock the focus and simplicity to do so? And a lot of this goes back to everything I coach about on the foundational pieces, from my experience being in high ticket sales, doing business coaching, life coaching, mindset coaching. All of it boils down to these same principles of getting a return on investment, ROI, which I now really coin the term return on intention, because it's the intention of where we put our time, our focus, our money, our resources, our energy, where typically ROI means like return on investment money, typically, but it is money, but it's also more than money as well. So we're also looking at decision mastery, because that's where our reality takes place. Our reality is a direct reflection on the quality of the questions we are asking ourselves and how we make our decisions. And what way do we make those decisions? And most of that is how we're showing up and what we value on a regular, consistent basis. And then we become a product of that, right? And it becomes who we are and what people expect. But then when we want more, desire more, whether it's love, connection, finances, relationship, richness in all the ways, right? Health and wealth. I truly believe you can have both. It's a yes and. We're not sacrificing, we're not giving away our power to circumstances, situations, or the big one, which is money. Most people give their power away to money. And I see this consistently over the past 20 plus years working in sales, and how people make decisions for their businesses and their personal life based on money alone. And it's kind of crazy, because money can come and go, and all of that is figure outable. I believe Marie Forleo coined that very well. So let's talk about this focus and simplicity. The reason I brought this topic up is I was reading probably one of the many books that I read on a regular basis. And there was a quote from Steve Jobs. Talk about Mr. Simplicity, right? You can take a complicated smartphone and make it simple to use. He also simplified his life. He showed up in his black turtlenecks every day. Most of the time I'm wearing a V-neck white t-shirt today. It's kind of brown and beige, but here you have it. Once there, this focus and simplicity, once you arrive to that, you can move mountains. That was a quote by Steve Jobs, which is true. And I'm going to uncover those 5 steps to help activate the focus and the simplicity that is required to do just that, right? So, and this has a lot to do with identity. So this may feel really uncomfortable if you've never done work like this before, or it might feel really good because you're finally activating and starting to integrate what is the truth of all truths of what you're truly desiring right here and right now. And this is why I'm sharing it. Obviously, it's May. It's my birthday month. And usually on birthdays, people are like reflecting on like, wow, been on this earth how many years, right? What have I accomplished? Am I living the same year over and over, or am I living a new freaking epic adventure every single year, right? So what happened to me back in my mid to late 20s, actually mid 20s, is I allowed my identity of who I knew as myself to be kind of tossed in the trash. What do I mean by that? And honestly, nobody can take your identity and toss it in the trash without your permission. So I was in a very vulnerable young state. I was in a career, a position that I absolutely loved and adored. I was the epitome of this corporate program that I sold as a national account manager. And at that time, my perception was someone took my identity, just balled it up and said, trash, you're no longer wanted here. And as you know, your perception is your reality, right? But we can change our perception just as we can change our reality. And the reason that actually happened, by the way, wasn't due to my performance. I was a high performer. I'd just hired my first sales coach outside of the business I was working for because I wanted to move mountains. I wanted to crush it. I wanted to reach unrealistic goals, in my mid-20s. And so the company was actually being sold to a Fortune 100 company. They couldn't tell me that at the time during the meeting where they were letting me go and handing me this decent severance package. I had no idea what a severance package even was. I think I had to go look it up or ask my dad. But when I look back, it's like, it's kind of funny when you love what you do, when you love the work that you're doing in the world and the people that you're working with, it doesn't matter how much money somebody pays you. When you truly enjoy that position and you're like, wow, I could see myself doing this for a lifetime, which at the time I really thought this is where I was going to live and work the rest of my life. And it was going to be really good. And it didn't feel like work because I just loved it. I lived it. I was the epitome of the program that we sold, right? That we held for people. And no amount of money sounds great to receive when they're saying, here, we're letting you go. So let's fast forward to the thriving, resilient, retired high performer here now in my 40s, now living my yes and life by design, my best life with freedom and fulfillment in both personal and professional, right? Now, it's taking me years to apply everything I've learned from the gurus out there, right? And realize that I can take those pieces and really simplify this and help others create their yes and life by design, and to end living on this default of what's been firing and wiring for decades that no longer serves what we're striving for, what we're here to live for. And with more purpose and intention, which is why, again, going back to return on intention. So that's why I'm focusing on the simplicity. And this is why unlocking the focus, unlocking the simplicity, this is how you create more time, more money, more freedom, more fulfillment, more wealth in your health, more richness in your experiences, because you have more time and usually resources to savor and enjoy. Savor and enjoy. We're not talking about just happiness, the result of something happening and we feel happy. We're talking about enjoying the process of whatever it is, which activates that happiness as a result of. How many of us are actually very intentional with that? Right? So that's probably for another episode, but let's hop into these 5 steps to facilitate this, what I'm going to call focus and simplicity related to an identity shift. Because honestly, we're going to have to honor and release the old version of us as we step into the new version of us, to start making decisions from that space, to start living from that space. And this is where it really happens. And it doesn't happen unless we do these 5 steps. Step number 1 is self-reflection. Self-reflection. This can be done in journaling, meditation. This is where we take time to reflect on your current space and identity of who you are, what you've been known to become. Sometimes you'll ask other people, right? What am I good at? What am I not good at? Who do you see me as when I show up? What do you like about who I am, right? What are your values around that? What are your beliefs? What are your habits, your thought patterns? What are some of those limiting belief thought patterns that are actually roadblocks that are holding you back? And this is where we ask the questions: who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are some of those limiting beliefs that I'm allowing to creep into my days? This honest, no judgment, no right, no wrong, just honesty of this introspection is the key to understanding of where an identity shift may be needed or required, and definitely required. But I'm not one to say you need to do this or you need to do that. It's like you deserve to, if that's what you ultimately want. But if you don't want it, don't put yourself through that breakthrough or transformation, because then you're going to be cleaning it up and doing another, right? So this is where we talk about thinking logically, feeling intuitively, and this is called living in alignment. And it doesn't always feel good. Living in alignment feels good ultimately when it becomes the patterns and the habits and the behaviors of how you show up. But that transition can be uncomfortable because we're comfortable in the old ways of being and doing life, right? So shifting this, we need to really look at, how do I activate and create this identity? Well, asking these questions, self-reflection, journaling. You can hop on one of my activate and create laser coaching calls which leads me to number 2, because what we do on those calls is define your desired identity. This is called vision casting, where we envision the person you want to become. Define the juiciness of the desires of that identity, identifying the qualities, the values, the characteristics that align to your dreams, your aspirations. Visualizing yourself, embodying this new identity. The only way we can embody is by activate and integrating, internalizing it, meaning being and taking action on it now as your future self, being that person now. How? By starting to simplify how you make decisions and only make decisions that fuel and feed that future version of you. Everything else is a no. Future version decisions and ideas and experiences are a yes. This is what I call living from your vision. And this is all building upon itself, right? We go to step 1, self-reflection, actualization, activating that, starting to get familiar of where you are, where you want to be, and what's the gap. We can overcome this gap together. Step 2, defining your desired identity. Okay, we know where we are. We know where we want to go because we defined the juiciness of it and what that means, and it's aligned to our values of what we wholeheartedly want to stand for and believe in, which leads us to step 3, which is setting clear goals. Now, I'm not stopping there. You know me. You can set goals every year, all day, every month, every quarter, but until you commit, you're taking notes, write that word big in bold, all caps, and circle it. Commit like you've never committed to something before. Break down those desires into the actionable goals that you're committing to. So you're setting them, you're committing, you're making sure they're measurable, they align with this new identity. They reflect back to you that desired identity. And you now are creating this roadmap for personal, professional growth, which is so cool because sometimes what this means is the goals of I'm hiring, I'm delegating, I'm releasing the blocks, releasing the excuses, the circumstances, and it's more cleaning up than it is building. We got to clean up so we can build and allow in more. And sometimes we don't even know what more is. We've gotten so comfortable with where we're at. But if you stop and allow yourself to be curious and play in the space of possibility, this is where we can unlock all of that. This will unlock what's blocking you from your next level of success and allowing in all the richness in all the ways: health, love, experiences, relationships, money, time freedom. We can start buying our time in the future because we know we can't buy back yesterday, a month ago, or a year ago. So let's hop into step 4, which is if you are committed to your goals consistently, that's commitment, right? Is consistency, having the courage to get clear and take that consistent action. You can't help but adopt these new habits. New habits. This is where the consistency in showing up as your future self pays off because it becomes who you habitually are. And when that becomes who you habitually are, now we're living out from our vision. These habits support the identity shift. They become the behaviors, the patterns that are consistent with this new identity, your future self. These small, consistent changes in your daily routine will lead to profound transformations over time. I am certain of it, not just through my own living experiences, but also through my clients. And I've coached since 2014 alone, because I haven't counted before 2014, because there's another couple, at least 100, if not 1,000 plus in corporate. But since being an online coach, service provider, consultant in other businesses, thousands of people, I've watched how when they apply the patience and intention and the persistence to integrate these habits into their life, into their business, because how we do anything is how we do everything, right? We're going to hustle and grind to get to that success, or hustle and grind and date and hustle and date and grind to find that relationship. What does this all mean? It's going to require that same energy to maintain and sustain it, the hustle and grind, the hustle and grind. This is why diets don't work, because they're not realistic for who you are and your lifestyle. You're not taking it into consideration. You're just like, I'm going to quit eating all this stuff that I enjoy and just eat chicken and rice. Just throwing that out there as an example. And then people wonder why it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. But how you do anything is how you do everything. And this is the same in business and life. So how you show up as a parent, a spouse, a friend, a neighbor, it's going to reflect most likely how you're going to be in business, and vice versa. Right? I don't know about you, but I'd rather be more simplified and focused and chill and enjoy the journey while growing and scaling, and knowing that's what's going to be required to maintain it and have a team to support me, then hustle and grind, hustle and grind, hustle and grind. But it took me a while. I was stubborn. Like, I can do this. I'm a make it happen mama. That was my old coaching name, Make It Happen Mac. I embodied it. It was who I was. I valued it. It was patterns. It was behaviors. And damn, I was good at being consistent with it. But it burnt me out. It burnt me out. So when I made those small, consistent changes in my daily routine, I was patient, but I was intentional. I was persistent. And I'm like, okay, got to do it different. There has to be another way. And it was not familiar, but now it is familiar, because it's who I am now. It's my new default mode. And it's maximized my ROI, my return on intention, and my return on investments in all the ways, and all the resources and time. Which leads me to step 5, surrounding yourself with supportive people. That was the magic. That is not a secret, right? It's like, duh. Hello, if you surround yourself with supportive people, seek out individuals who inspire you, who support you and your mission and your vision and everything you desire, and lift you up. When you have that community of like-minded individuals who share similar goals and values, their encouragement and feedback will reinforce. And it will just be, and things become simpler, and your goals are achieved and experienced with ease, because they reiterate going back to what? Your future version self, that are anchored in your values and beliefs. And the limiting beliefs are no longer there, because they stopped fire and wiring, unless they started firing and wiring. Gone. Now, it doesn't mean they don't show up. Doesn't mean they don't creep in every once in a while. It means when they do, they don't stop you or I. And when we have a support group and we have a community, they help us stay on track. Which is why this is 5 steps to unlock your focus and simplicity. It all makes sense. And it's not something new. It's just what I've seen work time after time and has been required for transformation, for breakthroughs, for decision mastery, for ROI. Self-reflection, number 1. Number 2, defining your desired identity. I guarantee there's some desires in there that aren't actualized yet. And you can have a yes and. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other because of circumstances or situations. Step 3, setting those clear goals and committing like never before. Step 4, adopting those new habits of who you are and how you show up, and becomes very clear and just consistent in who you are and how you show up and do life. Step 5, surrounding yourself with supportive people. Now, I'm going to call this step 5.5. It's just bonus, because this is one I'm still continuing to work on. I hope my clients work on, because yet we can surround ourselves with supportive people. But getting to the fact that accelerated results, accelerated breakthroughs, accelerated transformations, there's no biohacking in any of this, and there's no secret, but it's obvious that we all must learn to what? Delegate. Go back to the 4 agreements and honoring your word with yourself. and honoring your word with others, and delegate. Get really, really good at delegation, and you will actually buy yourself time into the future, since we know we cannot buy back that time no matter how much money we make. We cannot buy back that time. This is where a true game changer comes into play, because the identity shift is a journey in itself, and it requires that commitment, that self-reflection, the persistence. And I go through all of this in my Rise Up coaching program. And then eventually you don't even need a coach or a guide like me to hold you accountable to those things, to help you with those breakthroughs, because you have the tools and the methods and the frameworks to do it all on your own with ease, with grace. Not to say at times will be hard, but it is definitely simple. Even simple things can be hard, but with persistence and support and the right frameworks, it's possible. And if you're needing some help with any of this, as you know, I have the Power of the Reset journal prompts. It's a great tool to use monthly in less than 20 minutes to unlock, again, this focus, this simplicity, to experience and actualize your fullest potential, unlock possibilities with ease, fun, and fulfillment. We'll go back to that quote by Steve Jobs. Focus and simplicity. Once there, you can move mountains. Mountains. And life is short. It goes by fast. Are you living the same year over and over? Or are you adding in new adventure, new experiences every year? Again, you need help with this, reach out to me. My DMs are always open. I am looking forward to the next episode with you soon. Until then, I will send you with so much love. Until next time, bye for now.